So, I got another scrapyard veteran here. Just picked up today, 1978 3.5 horse Briggs push mower engine. It's got a fairly long shaft on it, at least a medium, and it's got the vertical pull starter there. Don't see too many of those these days, so I figured it was worth picking up. At least, unfortunately though, it's seized up. It didn't have a spark plug in it. I got one at the scrapyard, stuck it in the hole. I collect spark plugs too. A lot of times they just end up being plugs to plug the spark plug hole. But anyway, so I'll proceed to tear this down and see what the cylinder looks like, why it's seized up and all that. Yeah, just proceeding with the tear down here. The recoil starter is good. It isn't seized or broken or anything. It didn't start off very good though. I broke the head right off the cover bolt there, but all the rest came out. And then I saw the carburetor. I don't know why it's absolutely full of mud. Can't say that I've seen that very often. It doesn't really look like the work of mud dab or wasps or anything. Plus they, well, I have to get past the air filter element, what's left of it. But so anyway, yeah, right full of mud. This thing's dry. It looks like it's been sitting for like 10 years or something. Not in a forest, but like somewhere outdoors. Got all this dry stuff on it. At least it's not, you know, buried in mud or something, but she's definitely seized up. See, we got a spider there. He come off it. Welcome to the neighborhood, buddy. Anyway, looks like it's a head bolt time now. Got the head off there. Looks like some type of caterpillar larva or something was living in it. Cocoon. I don't know. But I pulled the head off. I noticed that the piston is proud of the block. Now, that indicates to me broken connecting rod. Can't say I was expecting that. Anyway, I guess I'm going to have to fight that blade mount off of there and investigate this further. The exhaust valve's open too. There's not huge amounts of corrosion though, so it's not like it was, you know, cylinder's right full of water or anything, but we'll have to see why that piston's sticking up there. So we've got one more piece of the puzzle here. I noticed that the crankshaft wiggled a bit. It wasn't totally solidly stuck. It was when you tried pulling on the starter cord, because that only spins it, you know, like clockwise. But, oh, I gotta turn it. But if you notice, the piston's not moving. And the exhaust valve opened up. She is tight though. It's tight and staying that way. That's got to be the con rod. So, I'm expecting we're going to find a broken con rod in there. We'll see how badly scored or whatever it is. There's like 0 oil in this engine. Somebody probably drained it out, or, you know, that's what caused it to let the rod go. But we'll find out. That's one of the main reasons why I picked these old seized engines up at the scrapyard. I'm curious what caused them to be blown up, seized up, what have you. So it's almost like solving a puzzle. Well, this is a number of hours later. I moved indoors into my basement shop here, and so I have taken the crankcase cover off and just got the flywheel off. The blade mount, had to heat the flywheel and the blade mount to get them off. Use a puller on the blade mount. The flywheel, see, I did a little damage to it there with my chisels, but so it's a 1978 engine. Somebody farm-hauled it here with, I don't know, I tried a square head, I tried all kinds of stuff, couldn't get that off, so finally I just left it on. The other bolt broke off anyways, and the third one was missing. But anyway, what I wanted to show here, well, I'm trying to diagnose why this engine ended up in the scrapyard, like what happened to it back in the day. So if you look in there, you can see a sheared off flywheel key. Same thing here on the crankshaft. Flywheel key sheared right in half. So what I've determined, shall we say, is that this lawnmower engine slammed into something like a rock or a chopped off fence post, something. It hit something hard enough that it sheared the flywheel key, possibly bent the crankshaft, but it got better than that. It even broke the camshaft in half. This piece of the camshaft there. So I'll just pause the video here and get it out of the vise and show you what I'm going on about here. Well, this is a number of hours later. I moved indoors into my basement shop here, and so I have taken the crankcase cover off and just got the flywheel off. The blade mount, had to heat the flywheel and the blade mount to get them off. Use a puller on the blade mount. The flywheel, see, I did a little damage to it there with my chisels, but so it's a 1978 engine. Somebody farm-hauled it here with, I don't know, I tried a square head, I tried all kinds of stuff, couldn't get that off, so finally I just left it on. The other bolt broke off anyways, and the third one was missing. But anyway, what I wanted to show here, well, I'm trying to diagnose why this engine ended up in the scrapyard, like what happened to it back in the day. So if you look in there, you can see a sheared off flywheel key. Same thing here on the crankshaft. Flywheel key sheared right in half. So what I've determined, shall we say, is that this lawnmower engine slammed into something like a rock or a chopped off fence post, something. It hit something hard enough that it sheared the flywheel key, possibly bent the crankshaft, but it got better than that. It even broke the camshaft in half. This piece of the camshaft there. So I'll just pause the video here and get it out of the vise and show you what I'm going on about here. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to mention was the engine did indeed have some oil in it. You can see I've let it drip out and wiped some out there. It's black. It just smells old, like very old. Now, there's part of the connecting rod still attached. As long as the crank isn't seriously bent, which it doesn't look to be from the end, although it's got some funny threads in it. A normal 3/8 bolt just slides right in, so it could be a 7/16 thread, I don't know. But the cover come off and then it got tight at the end. I had to like lay a beating on it to get it off of there. So there's something going on. Bent, or who knows. Then if I can rotate it, which I don't know why it won't, there's the other part of the connecting rod. In a minute here I know why I can't, because that part of the rod's hitting the side of the crankcase wall. Yeah, there's our busted off rod. Yeah, like I said, it took the camshaft out with it there. There's the other part of it. Snapped it right in half in between the lobes there. So that's usually an indication of when the connecting rod slams into it. I've seen that more on 5 horses than anything, but they have a lot longer stroke, and you know, so more energy when it hits the camshaft. Anyway, I'll shut her down and get that rod out of there. So I'm going to stand by my assessment that this lawnmower engine hit something with the blade very hard. That I don't think it bent the crankshaft, but you can see that it pushed the key sideways, and that's probably why I had a hard time sliding it through the bearing bushing. I filed it somewhat, but you can't always tell when you're filing what's the high point and what's not anyway. So like I said, it broke the camshaft, and it also bent the camshaft. Yeah, when you put it back together, it sits at an angle, and there's also a ding in it right here that lines up. See that there, hopefully. My guess is that would be or probably this connecting rod bolt that slammed into it. But if you look, the connecting rod bearing surface, bushing, whichever, it's not bad. Like, it's not perfect, but I've seen a lot worse. Same thing with the crankshaft. Like, it may have been run a little low on oil at one point, but there's no aluminum there or anything. I actually had one melt to it. The oil paddle wheel broke off and it melted the rod to the crankshaft. I had to like file and sand it off. Then the other thing it did, it broke the camshaft bearing in the block here. Right there, there's a crack. And also the con rod going around, see a scratch there, and it also has an area up in there where the con rod hit. The cylinder, it doesn't look really bad. Some signs of maybe getting warm, cooling fins maybe not quite up to snuff, who knows. But all in all, it's not all that bad. So I think it got slammed into something, and that was that. Obviously, you know, break the connecting rod, break the camshaft, slot out that, and break the flywheel key at the same time. It came to a seriously abrupt stop. So, but my guess is, with a few junkyard parts which I've got sitting around, I could get this engine going. I'd have to do a little bit of sanding or filing or something in the bore there to get the piston to fit. Do a little sanding on the crankshaft, and could reuse the piston. Needs another rod and camshaft, but I don't know, pound that back into shape there, maybe throw a little JB weld around it. Maybe I'll get the 77 bone rod Briggs running after all. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching, and thanks for your interest in what causes these engines to go to the scrapyard. This one was kind of interesting. Like I say, with the broken camshaft, I've only seen that 2 or 3 times. So that's kind of rare. But so everybody have a good one.